Diane aims for spoiler. Sally hides her tracks by telling Nick about it. On today's episode of The Young and the Restless, there is some quality time between Sharon and Chance, tension between Summer and Kyle, and a tense conclusion to Billy and Lily's therapy session. Lily and Billy enter society and sit at a table, where they make light conversation about the weather and the menu. Lily says that was incredibly hard, as Billy offers her a drink. A terrible first therapy session was a surprise to Billy. It was horrible, according to Lily. Billy had hoped it would be more casual, but the man proved to be difficult. Perhaps a new therapist is in order, he muses. Billy, did you disagree with anything I said? Lily probes. It's a no from Billy. Too bad, he was right on the money. He agrees that being totally forthright is the best policy, but he's still trying to wrap his head around it. As Lily puts it, me too. They've been moving in opposite directions, so she thinks they probably knew most of it already. They were doomed to this since they share so little in common. Sally is on her laptop in her room when Nick comes in to check on her. She opens the door for him. He adds he was confused as to why she seemed to be ignoring him and points to the pregnancy sheet on the table. As she throws the papers away, Sally reassures him that she is not ghosting him. A proposal, she says, and he offers to review it. Sally tells him he doesn't have to and questions whether or not he actually believes she ignored him. Nick wasn't actually there. He was merely thinking about her and wondering how she was doing. She denies that she has been ill with a stomach illness when he asks. He then adds, "You sure?" After Summer's bombshell at work, Kyle vents to her at the Abbott estate. He doubts her sincerity and wonders whether she plans to take their son abroad. Summer says under her breath that with everything going on, she wishes Harrison was safe and sound elsewhere. Kyle is aware that his girlfriend isn't thrilled with how much his mother's predicament with Stark has changed their life, but they realize they have to. Summer seems like things are spiraling more and further out of control, and they're only getting deeper every day. What's the next step now that there's a new scheme in place? Countdown of the top 10 soap stars who enjoy getting married. Kyle says this is all going to be over soon since his mom understands how to deal with Stark. Summer is concerned about what will happen if the crook figures out she's been playing him. As Kyle explains to his wife, Diane is willing to put their lives in danger so that they might all live a better future. Summer sighs and mutters. It's not just her personal safety she's endangering. Kyle promises to watch out for her and Harrison no matter what. I'm hoping we're better acquainted than that. Jack grimaces as he reads the "I've got this" text from Diane on the patio of Crimson Lights. When Sharon inquires about him, he explains that all he's doing is worrying about a friend. When Chance enters the cafe, Sharon is already inside and staring at her phone. She tells him she hasn't heard from Mariah and Tessa yet and inquires about his health. There is another investigation that he is working on. It seems she wasn't curious about his profession at all, as she claims. I was wondering where you were. Chance tries to change the subject, but she is genuinely curious about his well-being. The process of forming new routines has Chance saying that life is strange right now. Sally gets it. After Ray passed away and Faith went off to university, things began to alter. Each night, she eats her dinner by herself. In a similar situation as you as Chance, it occurs to Sharon that she could do something. At Noah's club, Diane gathers her courage and goes to join Jeremy, who is serving champagne. After telling her she looks great, he gives her a kiss on the cheek. He replies, "Let's see where the evening takes us." When she inquires as to whether or not they are celebrating, they raise a glass and recall fond memories. Jeremy is concerned that if he were to agree to her proposal, they wouldn't be able to continue doing business as usual since the federal government would be on their tail. Given that she is not on parole, he suggests that she go through with the transactions without him. Diane thinks Geno City is a great place to start a career. Stark nods, takes a look around, and agrees that the club would be ideal for laundering cash. He can easily picture himself living there permanently. Jack, who is sitting outside the coffee shop, sends a text to Diane, asking whether she has finished with Stark. "You must assure me that everything is well." Stark is informed by Diane at the club that he must relocate his operations. "It's clear that this isn't the right group for you. The property is leased to Chancellor Winters from Victor Newman's grandson. Avoid getting on their bad side at all costs." That's what Jeremy believes anyway. Diane argues that it's not a problem he needs, as she is familiar with the locals, but she thinks he's onto something and is hoping he'll take her up on her offer. Jeremy cautions her that she has not yet proven her loyalty to him. Sally informs Nick in the suite that the source of her stomach ache was probably something she ate, but that she could be off her rocker because of the proposal. Nick proposes that they find somewhere to eat. He knows Sally would rather work, so he proposes ordering takeout, a positive response from Sally. After sharing a passionate kiss, he separates from her to get the item. Sally rummages through the trash and finds the pregnancy brochure. She discards it after tearing it to shreds. Summer tells Kyle at the Abbott estate that there is constant tension and no sign of it abating. She'd like to get herself and Harrison out of there. She'll paint the experience as an exciting journey for the young man. She'll be more productive if she can shut off the chaos around her. After hearing her, Kyle reveals that he too is terrified. He is hesitant to leave his mother, despite her best efforts to persuade him to join them. His biggest worry is that this will drive a wedge between them. Jeremy tells Diane he won't be taken advantage of, especially by her at the club. He has yet to put his faith in her. He inquires as to whether or not she is currently residing at the Abbott mansion. She claims to have rented an apartment elsewhere, but has returned to their hotel. To save money, he suggests they split a suite. Diane tells him he'll get his financial life back on track. Jeremy observes that she exudes a lot more assurance now. She tells him that the revelation of her true identity was always a source of anxiety for her. Stark thinks to himself, "Now you have nothing to conceal except the criminal enterprise you're planning to begin." Diane doesn't think it's necessary to conduct a loyalty test at this time. Her loved ones are quite upset with her because she has returned to him. Any partnership with Stark would demand extreme loyalty on her side due to his need for self-preservation. Diane is eager to take on the challenge, so she inquires as to his plans. Jeremy claims it's something crazy she'll do to show how far she'd go to protect him. Diane assumes Jeremy is testing to see if she is truly invested. Because she managed to get away with her own murder, he knows she can get away with just about anything. "You've always professed an interest in risky pursuits. Now's your time to back up your claims." Diane wants to know, "What am I supposed to do?" "Surprise me," Jeremy says in a hushed tone. When they were both at society, Billy cautioned Lily against immediately assuming the worst. Though he makes the offer, she declines supper. Billy offers a drink once again. When he puts his arm over Lily, she snuggles up to his side. Sharon and Chance are bringing takeout into the cafe. Chance recommends that they break bread together. Chance is thrilled that Sharon agreed to eat at the restaurant he suggested because she has never experienced Ethiopian food before. Being in such pleasant company makes him happy. It's going to be a small adventure, and Sharon hopes it's going to be pleasant. Chance assures her he will never lead her astray. Summer reassures Kyle, "I don't want the Diane problem to come between us." At the Abbott residence, it's not lost on Kyle that life has been challenging at both home and work. He says Summer's mother is one of the major influences on her, among the many others. Disgruntled Summer, "Hold on a second." Kyle then explains that Summer is in part unhappy because Phyllis is so distraught, to which Summer angrily responds, "Don't you dare make this about her." Diane's perpetual mayhem is the subject here. Upon seeing Diane on the patio of Crimson Lights, Jack immediately feels better. Jeremy, she says, still doesn't trust her, but his greed and arrogance have won over. "He's about to walk straight into my trap, but first they need to perform this one more thing for me." To which Jack replies, "Oh?" Inquiring minds want to know, "What is that?" "We need to find a crime for me to commit," Diane says in response. Nick brings food to Sally's room, and she can't stop gushing over how wonderful he is. To quote the perfect woman, "You are the ideal man." After they begin kissing, they prepare to go to bed. Sharon told Chance at Crimson Lights that her first experience with Ethiopian cuisine was a pleasant one. She could trust his guidance, he assured her. She wants to make amends, so she recommends they have dinner together once a week starting next Monday. "It's possible for us to launch our own dinner club." Chance reassures her that he can adjust to eating by himself. Sharon finds it fun to hang out with him and suggests they try some new food together. Eventually, Chance agrees, next week it is. Over dinner at the Abbott residence, Kyle pointed out to Summer that Phyllis was the one who really started things rolling here in town. Summer is confused as to why she is being held responsible for her mother's ex-criminal boyfriend's behavior. Do you really believe he wouldn't have found her on his own eventually? It's hard for Kyle to accept that his daughter is actually justifying her mother's behavior. Summer insists they call it quits and orders him to do it. Kyle concurs this is the worst possible outcome. As far as she's concerned, she and Harrison should just go to Paris. After admitting his feelings for her, Kyle said, "I just hate all of this. Even Summer despises it. There is a passionate embrace between them." Diane reveals to her friends on the patio of Crimson Lights that Stark has asked her to commit a crime as a loyalty test. Once she gets through this, she'll have him like butter. Jack presses her for details on the heinous act she's contemplating. Diane has the bright idea that she should rob a bank. Jack volunteers to get the house safe open. Diane thinks that's too simplistic and obvious. He'll probably think something's up. Her target should be someone who will never ever, under any circumstances, come to her aid. Get the goods on Phyllis? Tempt me not. Lily takes a deep breath and says, "I need to get some air," while at the society. Billy gets up to follow, but she asks for a moment. It's at this point when Billy reaches out and takes her hands. "Don't worry, Lily, everything's going to be ok." He assures her that they will put in the time and effort necessary to solve the problem. "Let's be straight up," Lily urges him. They must stop now. After giving him a kiss goodbye, she walks to the door and checks her phone, where she finds a text from Daniel inquiring about how her doctor's visit went. As Billy sobbed, she walked away. After they've had sex in Sally's apartment, she asks Nick if he's worried about her ghosting him. He invites her to come to the bathroom and ghost him while he's washing his hair. Sally is so hungry that she had to put off eating until later. Sally puts on her robe and begins unpacking the food as Steve goes to the bathroom for a shower. She gets queasy just smelling it. During the turmoil at the Abbott residence, Kyle wishes he could protect Summer. She feels the same need to shield him from harm that he feels for her. They're kissing and hugging each other. Jack advises Diane on the patio of Crimson Lights that she shouldn't go after Phyllis. Diane concurs, explaining that the fact that Ashley already resides in the Abbott residence makes her an ineligible candidate. When Jack and Amy get closer, she becomes increasingly angry. "She may be just as hazardous to our plan as Phyllis is. That eliminates all but one witch," according to Diane, and because Nikki Newman was instrumental in Jeremy's arrival in town, perhaps she deserves some thievery for her efforts.